Thank you, everyone, and thanks for sharing a little bit about yourselves. It's so great to see such a diverse group of women here and mothers. I never wanted to work. Growing up in the 90s, it was all girl power. You could be an astronaut, you could be an engineer, you could be all these things. And I'm like, I just want to have kids. I just want to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. And, foreshadowing, I didn't. But, that's what I thought. And so I went to school, and I was a super nerd, so just put one foot in front of the other. I ended up at Georgetown and got super involved with politics and applied for an internship at the CIA. And next thing I know, I work for the CIA in the gnarliest job you could imagine. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm just going to go to college and meet like a nice man, and we'll have babies. Then I could quit my job at the CIA and just be a stay-at-home mom like I always dreamed of. The reverse psychology of the girl power movement, right? Yeah, I found myself, long story short, a year alone in Baghdad, away from, my then fiance, the first man that showed interest in me at Georgetown. I'm like, you'll do. We could have babies. This is great. Check on to the next thing. And we spent a year apart, and things didn't work out. And I was left scratching my head. Okay, well, how am I going to have my babies? I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And now here I am, 26, with this career that I've invested all of this time and sweat and sacrifice and safety for. And like, how am I going to make this happen? And strangely, around that time, one of my best childhood friends became a doula. And she started posting things about being a doula and birth and all this stuff. And I was like, that's frickin' disgusting. Like, ugh. I'm the most squeamish person on the planet. I can't watch Grey's Anatomy. Like, that kind of passed out in middle school learning about birth. Like, this is gross. But I was sucked in for some reason. And it just so happened that my coworker at the CIA, who sat right next to me, was like 8 months pregnant and doing hypnobirthing. And we would just spend the whole day talking about birth. And like, thank God Doge wasn't around then. We would have been cut first ones on the cutting room floor. We spent all day talking about birth for weeks. And finally, I was telling my friend about this, and she was like, you should just go do the doula training and see what it's all about. Maybe you'll like it. So I did, and then, again, one foot in front of the other, put a post on our internal CIA Craigslist that said, free doula. Does anyone need a doula? And it got 1,000 hits. And I ended up going to my first birth. I was completely unqualified and just, channeling the confidence of a mediocre white man. I'm like, I can do this. How hard could it be? The birth was 30 hours long. It was a total, it was a doozy. But from that moment, it was like a light switch went on, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know about this whole national security thing. I don't know about this, but birth, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I say that because from that point to me actually becoming a full, starting Breathe Bitch Doula and doing this work full time, was 5 years. It's easy to look back and think oh yeah, pivoting your career takes 2 seconds, or, this is so easy to just do something else. It's a slow process. If you have that thought in the back of your head, oh, there's actually this other thing that I want to do, but it's scary and it's not the stability that I need, or X, Y, and Z, I just want to take a moment, if we want to break out into little groups in your table, and just, if you have a side passion or a side hustle that you would turn into another career, what would it be? And it could be completely unserious. If you're I want to be a bobsledding instructor, that's okay. But yeah, maybe we could just take a couple minutes and think about what your second pivot would be. It's nice to just have those choices when we're undergoing these huge life events, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about how returning to work after I had my daughter, she's 2 now, how that all went. So. We'll jump back into the story. I'm single, go to Egypt. I'm there for 2 years. I meet an Egyptian man, 6'2" in finance. I'm like, great, we can have babies. I can quit. You can support us. We'll have, this perfect life. Bring his ass to San Diego. Never left Egypt before. Start Breathe Bitch Doula. He finds a job. We get pregnant. And I'm basically raising 2 children at the time, my husband and the business. Long story short, things did not work out. My baby was 2 months old and pretty much overnight became a single mom with no contact with him and was staring down the barrel of having to go back to work and support my daughter. And it was super overwhelming. And I just want to acknowledge that no matter how you go back to work, if it's consensual or not, it will always feel out of balance. And it will never feel like you're doing everything right. I have so many moms who come to us and they say, like, sheepishly, like, I just feel like guilty. If it's their stay-at-home mom and that was not their dream, like, I just feel guilty that I want more. Or they're at work and they say, I feel guilty that I'm not spending enough time with my kids. And it's just a universal experience, unfortunately, I think. But the balance, I think, comes from really reflecting on who you are as a person aside from motherhood and what is going to make you feel like a full person. And that might be staying at home. For me, it wasn't. I was losing my mind. I was like, this is like being locked in a room with a hostage. Like, she can't even talk to me. I need the intellectual stimulation. I need coworkers to shoot the shit with. Like, I can't do this. And that's fine. It'll look different for every season. Maybe that first year of your baby's life, you're full in and it's awesome and you're staying at home and you love it. And then it's not. And that's okay. It's going to change. And the balance comes from a balance of averages, right? Like, every day isn't going to feel perfectly balanced. Maybe every week doesn't feel balanced. I was talking to my good friend Valerie this week leading up to this event. I'm like, it's ironic that I'm talking about going back to work after having a baby because this last week has been the most insane and I feel so burnt out and I'm so over it and I just want to run into the forest and eat berries like a cave woman like we're supposed to, But that's all part of it too. Like, I'm sure next week it'll feel a little bit more balanced and a little bit easier and maybe I'll even think, oh, maybe I should go get, a different job or do this other venture and have this energy. And just to say that, like, nobody does it perfectly and over time it all works out as it's supposed to. So if it feels wrong in this moment, like, just think about what your options are. Think about how you can make small changes to prioritize, like, you being a whole person, because that's the best way you're going to show up in motherhood. Thank you for letting me share my story, and I'll be hanging out the rest of the day if you want to chat more. So thank you.